Good evening and welcome to the 2021 SowHope Gala. My name is Alan Salmon and I'm here just to get things kicked off tonight. If you have been to one of these galas before, welcome back. If this is the first time for you, then I guarantee that you will learn something interesting tonight and be inspired by some of the things that you see and hear. It's good to be back at an in-person event, which I don't have to tell you we haven't been able to do. The theme this year is Make a Difference, and tonight you'll see and hear things that will show you how SowHope makes a difference and how you can make a difference by supporting SowHope to do the things that it does. Talking about making a difference, this is SowHope's 15th year, and I think it might be appropriate to just recognize the founder and driving force of SowHope, Mary Brown. And kind of take a little look back at how we got here. And those of you who've been before may have heard the story, but Mary was working for an NGO, and everywhere she went, what she noticed was it was always the women doing all the work. And she asked somebody, why is that? And they said, that's just the way it is. And so Mary set out to change that and started on the road that led to all of us being here in this room tonight. So since then, SowHope has changed the lives of over 100,000 women. I can tell you that's 7,044 and a half women a year. That is, I can't remember how many that is a month, but it's 19.3 women a day and 0.8 women per hour. And why am I telling you that? Two reasons. Clearly, I'm OCD. And secondly, because by the time we leave this room tonight, SowHope will have helped 2 women somewhere in the world. And that's pretty impressive. Mary would be the first one to tell you that she hasn't done this by herself. And with the tireless support of her husband, Doug, and the SowHope board and volunteers, overseas partners and sponsors, the combined effort has been to make SowHope what it is and to have us all here tonight. And so for Mary and Doug, I'd just like to say thank you, and thanks you for everything you've done for women, and let's keep doing it. So back to the agenda. You'll see at the end of the room here a number of photos. These are photos from previous photo exhibits. When SowHope first started having these events, they were photo exhibitions rather than dinners like this. And so for anyone who donates $300 or more tonight, you can take one of those photographs home with you. Just select the one you want, and on the way out, Deb will be, where's Deb? There's Deb over there. And Deb, go and find Deb. You will be where, Deb? Over here somewhere. Just tell her the one that you want, and Deb will sort that out with you. Also with us here tonight One of the SowHope board members, Dr. Robert Cunningham, where's Bob? Where's Bob? Bob's over here. Bob lived in Japan for a number of years, and he wrote a novel set in Japan called 893, A Daughter of the Yakuza. And the Yakuza are the Japanese mafia. And it is a great book. I've read it, and it's not only a great story, but there's lots of cultural references in it that kind of elevate it as well. And Bob has some copies of his book here tonight, and for the same price that you can buy the book on Amazon, $14.99, but we hope you'll round it up to 15 bucks. You can buy one of those books, and Bob will sign it for you before you leave. Of course, at this time, we couldn't get by without mentioning our unwelcome companion in the world, which is COVID. And we are certainly not going to take a position tonight on masks. There's very strong feelings on both sides of that debate. And everyone here is here tonight for the same reason. It's not that one. So all we would ask is that there are people here tonight who are health compromised, and there are people here tonight who look after elderly relatives. And so we would request that when you get up to go to the buffet, that you wear a mask. If you are unable or unwilling to wear a mask, then just be respectful, please, of social distancing guidelines. So let's get to it. You will see up on screens, your table numbers will appear, and when your table numbers appear, please go up to the buffet and help yourselves. The official part of the program will start at 7:30. Once the event is concluded, there is a photo booth over there that we invite everyone to go and get their photograph taken once the event is concluded. So that's it. Enjoy the evening, and thank you for coming.
You know, women really struggle in the third world, partly due to the patriarchal cultures that they live in, which don't allow them to have just even basic human rights. One of the things I kept noticing was that women were doing most of the work. So I began to ask people, am I seeing this right? Because it looks to me like they're doing a lot of the work. And they would say, yeah, you're right, they do. They do all the hard labor. And I said, why do you think it's like that? And they would say, I don't know, but it's not going to change anytime soon. It was just reaffirmed all over the developing world. The poorer the area was, the worse it was for the women. Women are not allowed to be educated like men are. They're at much higher risk for their health, especially during birth. They're at risk culturally because of their own lack of human rights. So these kind of things make it very difficult for women to be able to ever get ahead or even believe in themselves. As a matter of fact, a lot of women are just very, very hopeless, and they have no sense of value and no sense of dignity. Impoverished women are maybe the most despised people of the human race, but they have value too. SowHope exists to inspire women by promoting wellness, education, and economic opportunities. All of these things work to help inspire women to understand their value, to understand their worth and their potential.
Thank you.
At SowHope, we've determined over the last 12 years that what women need most in the wellness program is maternal health care. Women need help giving birth so they don't die. Our education projects, these women are illiterate. They need literacy classes. And we provide vocational training for them. In our economic opportunities, it's all microfinance. We have a strategy that we believe that local leaders use local solutions to solve local problems. And we rely on these leaders and the women to tell us what they need and how they're going to improve their lives. And then we trust them to do it. Thank you. Thank you for your good words.
Good.
I started SowHope because I really wanted the women to know that someone cared about them. But what resulted has been so much more than I ever anticipated. Changing their lives, their children's lives, their whole community's lives, their husbands respecting them more, them being able to be a part of their communities in a more active and effective way. If you really want to help the poor, you should help women. It's the most effective, efficient way to change the situation of poverty in the world.
Good evening, everyone. How many of you are already inspired? I don't think I have a job to do. That video did it all. So thank you, Mary, and everybody that was showcased in this video doing a great job serving the women we love to serve around the world. My name is Frida Kanini. I'm one of the board members of SowHope. I'm so blessed to be a part of such a mighty, wonderful organization that's making a difference around the world, changing the lives of women. Tonight, on behalf of the board, Mary, and all of us here at SowHope, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all guys tonight to be a part of us, to join us. I hope this is the first dinner, those who are here tonight for the rest of our lives as we continue to serve through SowHope. So I know there are some people also watching tonight through Zoom and other online platforms. I want to recognize them. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. And I know there are people from around the world, and also the United States, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, just to name a few. So thank you guys for joining us. And tonight will be a lot of fun talking about why we are all part of SowHope and why we will become part of SowHope if this is your first night. So for me, I count my blessings being in a room filled with such wonderful people that are already making a difference. I know at least you are here, and that is already making a difference. So thank you. Let's give ourselves a clap for being here tonight. I wish everybody could be here, but I know we are still under the changes that are going on, transitioning from COVID. So even the effort that was made tonight to make sure everybody is safe, it means a lot. And even yourselves braving it and coming out, it means so much to us. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Peacemaker sponsor, Sunlight Inc. They will be coming up on the screen in a minute. So this is our Peacemaker sponsor. We just feel very blessed to have them. They have been consistent, and they continue to support us through the efforts we do. I would also like to thank our corporate sponsors. They'll be on the screen as well. So thank you to all and everybody who is one of the corporate sponsors tonight. And last but not least, I want to thank all the table hosts. So let's give these people a clap for the work they have enabled us to do. I think I'll be making you guys clap a lot tonight because that's why I'm here. And I know you guys are all excited about this evening. Our event theme tonight is to make a difference. So throughout the night, you will hear how yourself, who is in the room here today, the partners, staff members, volunteers, are making a difference through supporting SowHope. Next thing I would like to do is just take a few minutes, and it will be very brief, to walk you guys through the history, mission, strategy, and the accomplishments we have done through SowHope. SowHope was founded in 2006 by Mary Daly Brown, her husband, Doug, and many friends. Just like the name suggests, they wanted to sow hope in the lives of despairing women around the world who lived on less than $2 a day. So many people take hope for granted, but for the women we serve, hope is rare or not even there at all. To them, they might think like, we are living day by day. So the reason I our mission is what I'll be reading next, is we wanted to have a goal to sow hope into the lives of the impoverished women, despairing women, but yet strong ladies that want to do better things for their communities, for their children, and for their families. So thank you for helping sow hope, to sow hope into so many women's lives around the world. Our mission at Sow Hope is to inspire women around the world by promoting wellness, education, and economic opportunities. We can only achieve this mission together. If one person tonight sows hope into the life of one woman, that woman's life and our children and our family and the community will be changed. Please allow me to use this old African proverb that says, if you educate a man, you educate an individual, but if you educate a woman, you educate her family and the whole nation. I hope that old proverb continues to help the world realize the importance of not only women's education, but the opportunities that we want to afford these women around the world as Sow Hope and with you guys. Now imagine if you join and take the opportunity to sow hope and make a difference by helping 1 or 3 women, or 10, or however many you are able to support. We will be able to change their lives and situations from despair to a life filled with hope, dignity, and prosperity. One of the best parts, actually, and I'll talk about that later, why I love Sow Hope is our strategy. Our strategy is to partner with local leaders who solve local problems using local solutions. These people are already doing something and making a difference in their own communities, but we are there to support them so that we can enable them to make a difference in these women's lives. This unique strategy means Sow Hope ensures long-lasting impacts that ensure changes in the lives of women through supporting projects that allow them to become independent and self-sufficient. So we are not doing something whereby we will enable people to depend on us as Sow Hope. We are doing something that will make them self-sufficient and be able to become independent and make their communities thrive and be better. We cannot be able to make such big impact without each one of you tonight in this room. So far, Sow Hope, and numbers will be popped up at some point on the screen, but you'll be able to see numbers of how far we are. And we are in 23 countries, and we've accomplished 261 projects. Alan mentioned the numbers earlier. But we cannot continue to serve without each one of you guys. So tonight, to be able to make women's health care a priority, education, and the economic opportunities, and make a difference in their communities, we ask you guys to join us. And Mary will be talking about that a little bit later. So for me personally, I'll tell you guys why I became part of Sow Hope. About 6 years ago, my sister Nade, how Mary calls her Nade, but I call her Rokaya. She's here tonight. She invited me to one of these dinners, just like one of you guys. You are seated here, and I never turned back. In fact, I remember that time when I came to the dinner, I was very broken. I was crying and lost my mom not long before that. And I hadn't had the opportunity to go home to my country, Kenya, and do my closure, see my mom's final resting space. I had not been able to visit her when she was ailing and battling cancer for 18 months. I had documentations and paperwork that I had to handle before I could do that through immigration, and I was really stranded. I was so messed up. I was really crying a lot everywhere. But that night, I sat there on the table, and as the dinner went on, I saw this video come up where Mary was addressing the women in the program. They looked very vulnerable, and they were in difficult situations. But I also still saw their strength and the fight they were putting in. And it clicked with my life and where I'd come from. And just to share a little bit about my background, I was raised by a single mother. And again, the African proverb says, I was raised by a village. I was also raised by my grandmother, who would watch us when my mom is at work. I was also with my uncle and my grandpa, who were my father figures. My dad was not in my life at all. I actually met him once, and then a few years later, he passed away. So I never really had that, opportunity to be around him. So for me, my mom was my hero and my everything. And at that point, I just started really feeling sad, and I wished she was around because she would make a wonderful partner and do the job that was being done by SowHope. So I was just wondering, how can I make it? I wish I had known SowHope a little bit earlier, because I would have been telling them my mom already does this. A little bit about my mom, besides being a single mother, she was a wonderful community leader and a person who served from the deepest of our heart in the community. She had very little. We were from a very humble background, but we had so much love, and she cared for so many people around the community. She took care of women and girls, and also she took care of people with special needs. It was a government job, but it was paid very little, I believe less than $50 a month. But she had to put us through school. She also had to take care of our own parents who lived with us. So you can see there was a lot going on, but she still gave her time to the girls. And I remember actually when my mom was going through cancer while I was here, there was this one girl, her name is Ruth. She told me, I'm going to be taking care of your mom while I was here, because she wasn't going to be in school and if it wasn't my mom. Her mother had told her that she drops out of school so her brother could go to school because they didn't have enough money, but my mom went to their house and talked to the mom and said her daughter needs to go to school, just like the son had to go to school. So those are the impacts that our partners are doing in this project, and that's what I felt when I watched on the screen what Mary was doing. So just a little bit of my personal connection. That is one of the key reasons that I joined the SowHope. That is the night I made my decision. While my mother was not here to do that job, I was going to do it to continue our legacy while serving these wonderful women around the world. And especially I know it's also in my country, Kenya, where I come from, and I can be able to relate fully to that. So that was one of my main touching personal relationship to SowHope. So it's beyond anything that, I can be able even to explain. It's very dear to my heart, but of course, to see what is happening and the changes we are making. My second reason, of course, is what I just mentioned. Our strategy is very special. Sometimes organizations just take off, go somewhere, maybe, let's say, Africa or other countries, and give handouts. And after that, they walk away, and then these people start to depend on them for the money. But SowHope does a different thing. They empower those women to be able to be independent so that they can rely on themselves. So that's one of the ways I felt very connected as well. And of course, the other connection I have is very special too. Mary is a very touching, inspiring person that if you get to know her, you just jump all kinds of bridges and do what she's doing. Mary, thank you for your inspiration, for your brave and caring spirits. You go to so many corners of the world to visit and be with these ladies. You love them with your whole heart. I don't think the videos do a justice to what you really truly go and do with some of the program members of SowHope. But I have still fallen in love with this mission, and I hope each one of you tonight finds that special connection and the reason to love what Mary is doing and everybody here at SowHope and what you guys are already doing. And now, my next thing I wanted to bring up is why we celebrate, and tonight we'll be celebrating because I know you guys all love celebrating. I've seen the wine and how it's going. I think that is a sign we are going to have a wonderful celebration here tonight. So at SowHope, we witness many great injustices and sadness. So we have made celebration a part and a parcel of us and a value that we care so much about. So we truly enjoy celebrating because we are making an impact and changing those situations, the injustices, and the things that impact these women, their families, and communities. And of course, we could not ask for a more special evening or more special people to join us here tonight. I think we are surrounded by the right people to celebrate with. You may ask what milestone it is, but tonight it is 15 years. And I can... You will see the 15-year report. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite you all, guys, to join us here at SowHope at celebrating this milestone by raising your glasses. Feel free to stand and do a standing ovation. To raise your glasses and make a toast for 15 years of sowing hope, making a difference, and changing so many lives of women who deserve it. So let's do a toast, guys. I don't have a toast. Toasting to another more than 15 years to come. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. If you're online, just toast at home by yourself with family. I need to go back and grab my wine at some point. So I just want to say what a great milestone. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, all the program directors, the SowHope board, and our supporters who cheer us on. Thank you. You may ask, what is your takeaway tonight? I hope that you've been touched so far, and I know it's going to continue to happen throughout the night. And as we mentioned, tonight is about making a difference. So I hope you can make a difference in the lives of women that SowHope is privileged to serve, inspire, through wellness, education, and economic opportunities. I hope you find it in your heart to make a difference tonight, and not just tonight, to continue to make a difference in whichever way you can. I know we always even need volunteers. You also all have rich friends and family members. Go and tell them about SowHope and let them know what we need. We need support in every capacity. Next up, we'll be watching a brief 15-year video. It's going to come up in a few seconds, and it will be highlighting our accomplishments of what SowHope has done so far.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Well, as you know, it is our 15th birthday, and we're celebrating that tonight. And I wanted to let you know that there are a few people in this room who have been with SowHope for the whole 15 years, and I want to invite them up. There's about 7 of you out there, so come on up right now, please. You know who you are, founding board members, and a couple volunteers, donors. The first year of SowHope, you probably noticed that we had 100 donors, and there's on the screen there will be a list. They ran it a few minutes ago. It was the wrong video, but it was a list of everybody who's still donating and volunteering to SowHope. You guys could run that again while this is going on, maybe. So why don't you guys light these candles up? Help me out here. And I do want to have you in a second. Let me introduce some of these people. This is Dave Crawford. He was the founding board member, founding board treasurer, and he has been our bookkeeper for 15 years. Dave knows where every penny came from and where every penny went. In the middle there is Bonnie and Craig. They are Sunlight Inc. And Bonnie was our founding board secretary, and they are going to lead us in a wonderful round of happy birthday in just a second. Yeah. Behind me is Deb Rayburn and Larry. They've been volunteering and donating since the first time we had the first photo exhibit. And down below here is Michelle Wise. She also was a first-year donor and has been at every event we've had, and it continues to help us quite a bit. And this is my wonderful husband over there on the end. I made him wear that hat, so I'll put mine on too. And I'd like you guys just to stand up and sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear SowHope. Happy birthday to you. Woo! All right. Blow those out. Blow out the candles. By the way, are Lyle and Carm here? You were supposed to be up here. You were there at the first year too. Okay, well, thanks everybody. All right. All right. We started out in 2006 with little money, but a lot of heart and hope. We had an exceptional founding board, and we continue to have a great board. Would the current board members please stand up and be recognized? Even you out there online, stand up and be recognized where you're at. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your leadership. We've always had the strategy of finding the best possible local leaders in the countries where we're funding projects. These are leaders who are helping women in their own communities in the developing world, and we just come alongside them and encourage them with resources and friendship. We have a tremendous level of trust with our partners. When COVID hit, we were able to nimbly respond to their cries for help. We are an organization committed to sustainable development, which promotes economic independence rather than charity. Charity provides for needs, but it causes dependence. For example, the difference between charity and sustainable development would be charity is handing out food and clothes to save poor children. A sustainable income generating program would be teaching women how to sew or farm. Then the women could earn their own money and afford to buy their children food and clothes. This is a much more dignified way to help the poor. Our goal is to work to so empower the beneficiaries that they are independent, and we are no longer needed in their area and can move on to other areas. This is the vision we give them when we move into their areas and we go to their group. Over the past 15 years, we've partnered with over 60 leaders in 23 countries. Tonight, you're going to get to hear from some of them. Thanks to the pandemic, we and our partners have been able to be more connected technologically. That is one good thing about the pandemic. Of course, nothing replaces personal visits. But when you can't make those 24 to 36-hour flights, Zoom is a pretty nice alternative. I'd like to introduce you to one of our partners so you can hear from her yourselves as she describes the situation in Nepal and one of her projects. This is Jyoti from Nepal. This is the last place we got to visit before COVID hit. She oversaw a project to make face masks. They already were using face masks for pollution, and we met a man who wanted to be able to hire more women to make masks because they were in such demand, even before the pandemic. The pandemic and our funding made it possible for him to ramp up the business and help several women start their own sustainable mask-making businesses. Let's watch the Jyoti film.
Because we found some of the families, they could have starving. They could not share when they lost their job and they could not go outside, they could not work and they have no money. They could not pay the house rent and they could not feed their families. Even we heard like some families suicide during this period because of the hunger. And then afterwards, people started helping each other. Face mask production project, they felt so much happy because they thought like it is the thing they are making, what is really needed for the pandemic time. So they felt we are also valuable to contribute something for the society. That was really good thing. And also they are making some money during this really horrible time so that they can make some income for their family. Together we can make a difference.
Some of those women were so successful that they had to move to other towns to start to run their businesses. I want to share two things that I've learned over the last 15 years. And I think this will give a little background to the new people. Would the new people that are here please raise their hands? If you've never been to a SowHope event, would you just raise your hand? Thanks. We're very glad you're here. The first thing is that the plight of women is worse than I originally thought. As we've said, women suffer disproportionately from having low status. They suffer physically, educationally, economically, and culturally. I'm going to give you a little warning. Some of the contents of this speech will be disturbing. Physically, women are abused and exploited with nearly complete impunity. Suffering starts early, as girls as young as 6 years old go through female genital mutilation. Some girls are forced into early marriages with older men and endure unspeakable things that no young girl should ever have to face. One woman at a shelter SowHope supports in Afghanistan had to run away from her husband's family to protect her 4-year-old daughter from an early marriage. Her 11 and 12-year-old daughters had been given in marriage against her will. She wept bitterly when she told me that she hoped they were dead because she feared the agony that they might be enduring. Many women also die in childbirth because they have to give birth alone in a hut. We have funded many midwives and birthing centers so women can live and their babies can live. When women contract any disease like AIDS or an illness like obstetric fistula that disables them in any way, instead of being helped, they are outcast, considered cursed, and left to a lonely, miserable existence. Let's hear from another partner in Burkina Faso. This is a husband and wife team. He is a surgeon, she is a registered nurse. They help women who have suffered an obstetric fistula. Fistulas happen usually to young women who are too small to deliver their babies. During the birth, the baby's head presses against the vaginal wall for many hours and causes a tear or a fistula. Eventually, the baby is stillborn. Afterward, urine and sometimes feces leak uncontrollably through the fistula, causing a horrible stench. These women are almost always abandoned and neglected. There are over 2 million women in the world with this condition. A fairly simple surgery can fix a fistula, Dr. Itengerde and Rasmata have asked us to fund surgeries and to now build a small clinic that can be dedicated just to fistula patients because they are not welcome in the regular hospitals. Let's watch the Burkina Faso film.
To say it literally, as people used to say here, if we are not able to do surgery to these women, they are just finished. So I believe having this clinic to increase our capacity to help women will make a big difference to their life. The first thing is really making them feel again human beings and helping them to get back to the society with capability to get involved in the normal activity, in the family, in the community, and all the society. So personally, I believe treating the fistula patient and helping them with training in income generating activity make a big difference in their life. Not only in their personal life, but in the community as a whole thing. You know, it is just like, even if you are alive, you died. In our community, culturally, woman is really important because woman does almost everything at home. So when a woman gets the fistula, the first thing is she's not able to meet the expectation at home. She's not able to go to meeting. She's not able to go to market. She's not able to get work. She feels like she cannot take care of her own children as she would like to. And more importantly, in some culture, just like in Burkina Faso, she will still be at home. And some of them, you will ask them and they will say, oh yes, I am still married. But she's not married, she's only there. The husband will go and marry another wife. And because marriage is directed by cultural setting, she cannot go out, but nobody cares about her. So finally, it is just like existing without being there. After they get surgery and they heal, of course, the first thing is their physical restoration, physical healing. And of course, emotional healing because they feel important once again. But second, most of them get to restore a normal life with the husband. The other thing, of course, if they are able to get pregnant again, and because some of them get the fistula at the first pregnancy and lose the baby. So if they are able to get pregnant, they get a baby, and this is a good expectation to them. The other thing, they are able again to go among other women. And, the community, being among the community in West Africa is very important. Being able to attend at community meeting and even at churches, mosques, this is very important for people. So they have the sense of belonging again to a community. And finally, they are able again to do their small works because if you have a fistula in the village, even if you sell something, nobody will buy. Because people say this is like the dirty woman or the cursed woman. So you are not even able to go to take water in the wheel, because when you get there, people will go away. So they go by night. So after they are healed. And, as an example, last week, we did a surgery on a lady who lived 30 years with the fistula. And when she was saying thanks to us, she said, when I get home now, the first thing people will say, the cursed lady has come back. but they don't know I am coming back with gold. So that was amazing. Together, we can make a difference.
We're in the middle of funding a 2-story clinic, so Dr. Utangreddy can do about 10 surgeries a week. We just sent a container full of medical equipment and supplies, and it should reach there in about 2 to 3 months. Women suffer physically. They also suffer educationally. Women are undereducated, having to leave school when they reach puberty, if they ever even got to go. And twice as many impoverished women are illiterate as compared to men. We have funded literacy projects in many countries. One Indian woman explained that once she could read and do math, she felt so free. Why, I asked her. Because now I can count and use money. I can read the signs and take a bus and go to the city and buy supplies and bring them back and sell them in my village for a profit. Another woman in Uganda told me when I asked her what the best part of being literate was, said, "Now I can read my child's report card. No one has to tell me how my child is doing in school now." It's amazing what reading does for people and the dignity it brings. Economically, women are overworked and underpaid. One estimate that I read, which I think actually is conservative, says that women do about 70% of the world's labor and receive about 10% of the earned wages. 80% of the world's farmers are women who farm by hand. In sub-Saharan Africa, they produce 80% of the food. I'd like to show you another partner. Her name is Victoria from Sierra Leone, and she decided to do a sustainable farming project this past year. During the COVID lockdown, she went to the authorities and asked permission to do a socially distanced group farming project, and they allowed her to do it. Let's watch the Victoria video.
It's made a huge difference because on the lives of the women were languishing, so to speak. They had no voice. With money in their hands now, because they are farming, they are able to do a lot of things. They could now leave their abusive homes and continue with the work they are called to do. Farming helps women economically, which in turn empowers the community. Because if the women are poor, the community will be poor. So as a result of the empowerment of the women through farming, the communities also are empowered. The importance of food during the COVID cannot be overemphasized. It was very, very important because there was such a shortage of money. They could not have money to buy their stuffs, but because they could farm, they were able to provide food for themselves and their families and the communities as well. So the importance of food during the COVID that SowHope helped us with cannot be overemphasized.
What would have happened if SowHope would not have given you the money? What would have happened to the women, to the community? What would have happened?
Some of them would have died by now. That's one. And also the abuses would have increased. But because of the intervention of SowHope, all of these things were minimized. Abuse were minimized. The women were able to provide food and also economic gains for their families and their communities. So it's a plus. Together, we can make a difference.
Did you catch that because of the farming project, not only did the community get to eat, but the abuse of women went down? This is the power of an astute local leader. They solve many problems with just one project. Culturally, women also suffer from basic human rights, like the right to own property. Many times they are the property. The way we determine if a group of women is eligible for our funding is whether they are considered to be appropriate age for marriage. or at risk of being sexually exploited. So some of our funding goes to women who are 6 or 7 years old, like I described earlier. Other young girls are being set apart as temple prostitutes, like the Devadasis in India. You can read more about that in the fall issue of our newsletter that's on your table. There are many double standards for impoverished women. In many areas where we fund projects to help women, husbands have multiple wives. But nowhere that I have been can women have multiple husbands, as if anyone needs more than one spouse. Right, honey? By the way, Doug and I just celebrated our 40th anniversary last month. That's what we're celebrating. He's an angel. I don't know how you did it. Men can come and go as they please, but women are forced to stay home or be covered and accompanied by a man to go out. This is a difficult situation for women. They cannot go to school, work, or live out their God-given potential. How awful. How awful that must be. With that said, still, women are resilient. I have talked to so many women who have shared terrible stories of abuse, neglect, and suffering, and yet, with just a little hope, they are transformed. I shared the story a few years ago about Marie in the Congo, who watched horrified as rebel soldiers killed her husband and then her 2-year-old son with machetes because there was no more money to give them. Then they attacked her and left her for dead. She was part of a group that received funding from our partner who was doing abuse counseling and income-generating activities. She still bears the scars and walks with a limp. She became a leader in that group and was in the group that was going out to find other women who had suffered similarly to try and help them heal and move on. Amazingly, she told me that they would like funding to try and go find the men that did that horrible thing to her. I assumed she was looking for justice and said so. She replied, "No, those men are suffering and they need what you have given us. They need hope. We want to give them what we have." That's when I discovered that I didn't really understand the depths of forgiveness. Women are responsible, and they're worthy of being helped. Very poor women acquire basic resources. When they acquire very basic resources, they multiply those resources and change their lives and the lives of their children. With any extra money, little extra money after feeding their families, women immediately send their children to school. The second thing I learned in the last 15 years, second great lesson was, nothing of lasting value is accomplished unless committed, compassionate, competent leaders are able to carry out what they believe is the right thing to do to make a difference in their communities. That is why we partner with local leaders, solving local problems using local solutions. We find people who are already helping women and ask them what their dreams are and what they would do with more resources. They tell us, and we fund their projects. They tell us they tell us and we fund their projects and help them carry out their own dreams. This way, they own their projects because it is their idea. On the contrary, when we Westerners go and tell poor people what to do, even when it may not be culturally appropriate, give them all the resources and pay their salaries, the minute we leave and the funding stops, the project falls apart. And then we scratch our heads and wonder what happened. Or worse, we blame them for the failure. But if someone has an idea and they tell you what they want to do and you fund that, do you think it might work better because they know their local circumstances better than you and their reputation for success is on the line? When people are paid to do your idea, it only lasts as long as the funding. When it is their idea, they almost always make it work, no matter the funding, because their heart is in it. Can you think of something that was your idea, that you worked harder than normal, or you put your life or your assets on the line for? How'd that work out for you? Listen carefully to Rhoda as she describes the difference between working for a big charity and getting project funding from SowHope. Let's watch Rhoda.
Working with SowHope has really given me a joy and also has really made my dream become true. Because when I was in Bahr el Ghazal, I was working with the women, but it looked like I was tied down. I could not do what I want for the women. But meeting Mary at SowHope give me the joy and also give me the courage to move on. So I was to plan what I see at the grassroots and come up with the issue that is the real problem that is affecting the women. And seeing that this is the fourth year now, and I have seen a great difference in the women because women were not people who are respected in the community, but working with SowHope has made a great difference of giving dignity to the women. It has also helped women from poverty to sustainability. So women now, they are able to cater for themselves. They are able also to have their rights and to know their rights also. And this time now, they are resilient and have seen them that they are able to unite to one another, and also not at themselves alone, but also reaching at the grassroots to their husbands and their uncles. So I have seen a great change when I met SowHope because their heart is helping the needy people at the grassroots, not just for the sake of the project, but for the sake of life changes. And this is what gives me joy, and I'm happy always. If we would have not worked with SowHope this year, then the women would have died of hunger. Together, we can make a difference.
Of course, the COVID pandemic has insidiously entered onto the worldwide scene and wreaked havoc everywhere. When COVID hit, we were strategically placed to make a big difference in the lives of people living in extreme poverty all over the world. Because we don't need to be there. The partners come up with the ideas, and they do all the work. And they should get all the credit. That's one of the reasons I am trying to show you so many partners tonight. They are the ones in the trenches, coming up with the ideas and doing the work and saving lives. At SowHope, we don't have a lot of money, and I've realized that the best thing that we do at SowHope is literally SowHope. I didn't even like this name when I started this organization. I thought it was a terrible marketing nightmare. But I've come to realize that even though we're small, the best thing we do is give hope, and hope really changes everything. This past year was definitely our best year for significantly impacting women, their children, and their communities. If you think it was bad here with the toilet paper shortage, you should know that it was way worse in the poor areas of the world, where the infrastructure and the supply chains are much more fragile than here. Many of them didn't even have toilet paper to begin with, so at least that wasn't a problem there. We realized early on that the pandemic could upend much of the hard-earned success of many of our beneficiaries around the world. People were not allowed out of their houses, and when you only have food for a day, things can get dire fast. Our partners were used to only getting funding for projects that had a sustainable component to them. But early on in the pandemic, we considered two things. First, there was a lot of fear that funding would fall for nonprofits and that they should preserve their money because of the pandemic. At SowHope, we have been fiscally conservative, saving up to 10% a year with the goal of having our funds in place at the beginning of each year. When the pandemic hit, we had an annual budget and the money to spend, and we decided this was no time to withhold funding. In fact, with people's lives at stake, our friends, we felt we should increase our grants and do what we could to help our partners and their beneficiaries. We knew it could be risky, and we might end up with nothing at the end of the year, but at least we would go out trying to help as much as we could during a global crisis. The second thing was that we also decided that desperate times call for desperate measures. We knew that we could not require sustainable development when people were not able to go to work. We would need to resort to charity in this difficult worldwide situation. We contacted our partners and let them know that we would be sending stimulus funds to them. They did not need to apply for the funds like they normally do. They only needed to let us know what they did with the money. This is what years of friendship and trust allows. We never for 1 second doubted that the funds would be used to the greatest, most efficient, and effective ways possible to help the most people possible. In fact, about half the partners still cleverly used some of their stimulus funds for sustainable projects, like Jyoti and Victoria have already shared. The other half needed to stop starvation, and they bought foodstuffs to distribute. Let me show you another video from Sarah, who describes some of the struggles that women in Nigeria face on a daily basis, and especially now during COVID. Let's watch Sarah's video.
The Fulani headers or from the kidnappers, women are not finding it easy to go to the farms. We are afraid of being raped, we are afraid of being kidnapped, and this is what has been happening to us. So also another consequence is the fact that because of the drought, we don't have enough food now. Most of the crops were dried up, especially beans, which was supposed to come at the later part of the year. Beans, there's not much beans here, so it becomes very, very expensive. And also because of the flood, rice was washed away. We have very little rice now around us to eat. And also, borders were closed. So no importation of goods coming in. Another problem is the fact that so many people died out of hunger. There was no food. People are locked inside the houses, nothing to eat, nobody to provide. Even if you have a relative, there's no way they can go to you and give you food to eat. And so in your rooms, you stay alone, nothing to eat, and so you fall sick and die alone. It was only you that gave us support, except for the little that we have around us, that we have been managing. And so many have died because they did not get that support. So if you hadn't helped us, I don't know what would have happened to us. Maybe some of us would have died too. And I'm saying I'm also grateful that God has attached me to Mary and to SowHope, that I'm getting help. Mary, you have impacted lives with this support in 6 states in Nigeria, 6. It becomes 6 because some of the women that comes to learn skills from us will go back to their states and they will continue training others there. That is how we grow to other states. Together, we can make a difference.
So tonight's theme is Make a Difference. And over the last few years, we have been asking ourselves and our partners, if what we do at SowHope, does it really make a difference? You've heard from some of our partners, and now I want to show you one last video of a woman who is such a great leader. She comes up with the most amazing projects to dramatically change lives and whole communities. Even one group of widows that I met back in 2009 who were just waiting around to die have had several income-generating projects under Josephine's leadership. They went from losing everything in the 2008 war and were on the brink of ruin to telling me, we don't need any more funding, we are all fine now, with repaired houses, with farm animals, with so much food, and now we even have savings. They told me, go and help women poorer than us so they can be transformed just like we were. Let's watch Josephine's video.
I'm Josephine from Kenya, and I love SowHope.
And we love you.
There is a lot of difference that SowHope has made to the women we have been training, and because they never expected the COVID-19, their savings were used. And they were not able, they got a lot of fear because they didn't know how they were going to survive again. Because SowHope has an open heart to receive our ideas and our fears and our worries. And when we shared with SowHope, they were ready to give the stimulus to reawaken the women. Because most of them had been admitted in hospital and out of stress, out of feeling, now it is just death. They saw just death. But when SowHope gave the stimulus, they felt like they were resurrected, and they kept moving on. And they were able to ration the funds they had. And they were able to have activities even for the children to keep them busy. SowHope resurrected, revived the women because they had lost hope and they thought it was just death. They could see death, but now they're able to move on. If we had not come and shared our worries with SowHope, we would have buried not only women, but girls. Together, we can make a great difference.
Women in 3 different countries have told us that they do not need any more funding and to go help other women. You know, earlier I forgot to have you guys use these, we bought all these goofy little things. They don't make any noise. Oh, there you go. I think it's time we should make some noise and celebrate what's going on, what is going on here. All right, all right. Why do yours work and mine don't? Okay. All right, normally I would take a few minutes and answer some questions, but we're running a little bit late, so I'm just going to let you know that in a few minutes, Molly Coonley is going to come and sing a song that she's prepared. After Molly sings, Nade, our board secretary, will come and give some final comments and some instructions for you. Let me conclude right now by reminding you that the plight of women in the poorest parts of the world is still prevalent. And I believe they are the largest, most oppressed group in the world and worthy and deserving of our help. And secondly, the solution to their plight lies in their own dedicated, caring, and capable local leaders having some resources to make a difference. By the way, do you know what happened last year when we decided to risk all of our savings to help our partners around the world? You, the SowHope donors, responded more generously than any other year and gave more than we had saved in the first 14 years. You are the ones that make it possible for our partners to make their dreams come true and to make a real difference in the lives of deserving women. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for caring. You make a difference. God bless you, and good night. Molly?
All right, one more time. Somewhere over the rainbow way, up high in the land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where trouble melts like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly above the rainbow, why can't I?
Thank you, Molly. Thank you. Give Molly another round of applause, please. That was such a beautiful song. Bravo. That was great. That reminded me of this British singer named Adele. You gave me chills while I was listening to you. That was really beautiful. Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Nade Rakaya Ndao, and I am the SowHope Board Secretary. I am originally from Senegal, West Africa, and I have been with SowHope since 2016, so it's been a few years. And just a little bit about my connection to SowHope. I moved to Grand Rapids from Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I was, we have Kalamazoo here. Okay, WMU. Thank you for being here from KZoo. So I moved from Kalamazoo to Grand Rapids because I was working at Bethany Christian Services as an AmeriCorps Vista. And my supervisor, her name is Natasha Mueller, she used to go to the same church as Mary. So I shared with Natasha about my goals and hopes and aspirations because I came here when I was really young. I came here when I was 19. And now I'm 37, so please do not do the math. Don't count or don't say it out loud. But anyways, Natasha knew, when I shared with Natasha about the goals that I had about going back home to Senegal, my home country, and working with women, working with young girls, she knew exactly who to connect me with. And she emailed Mary, introducing me to her and saying, Mary, I know this amazing young lady, whom you should meet, and you have to meet with her. So eventually Mary and I met, and the rest was history. I was so moved by the amazing things she was accomplishing around the world, especially in Africa, and I will be a little biased there because the need is really dire back home. And I was moved. I cried meeting with her. I don't know anybody who's ever met Mary, heard her story, and never cried. Has that ever happened? I don't think so. Has it, Mary? I doubt it. The stories that she always shares are always so moving and emotional. It made me, and from that day on, meeting with her and learning about what she was doing, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I would like to do when I go back home. Helping women, empowering women, helping young girls, because they're the future. When you help women, you help the whole family, you help the whole region, you help the whole village, the whole city, town, and eventually nation. So learning from her was really amazing, and I am really proud and honored to not only know her as a woman, as a board member, but also just knowing the amazing work we've been doing over the years. So happy anniversary, SowHope. 15 years, and God willing, counting. Thank you. So today, this evening, I wanted to make sure that I share that the projects we've made, we've done, we've funded over the years wouldn't have happened if it weren't for you all here and those watching online. 261 projects over the world, in Africa, in Asia, and in Mexico. That's a lot. So Mary, thank you so much. This is very big. This is huge. This is really huge. So just wanted to reflect a little bit about Mary's story and what she's shared regarding empowering women. Empowering women is something that I've seen can make a difference in people's lives. It can make a difference in the women's lives. It can make a difference in the girls, young girls, the kids, the husband, and the extended family. So tonight, I am going to share some ways you all can make a difference here today and also those who are online. As you all know, the past couple of years have been really difficult for people here, and especially our friends, our leaders abroad. People have lost their lives. People have lost loved ones. They have lost their income. They've lost their safety net. They've lost their home. Some of them have even lost hope to a certain extent. Now, the positive thing is we all can participate and make a difference by donating to SowHope to support those women and those individuals whose lives and livelihoods have been shattered by conflict, by disaster, to survive, to recover, and gain control of their future. So these are the ways that you can support SowHope tonight. You can make a one-time gift donation. You can also be a monthly donor. And by being a monthly donor, you become a SowHope star. We call it a SowHope star because you're just so awesome and you're a star. And as a SowHope star, you will make a difference that people can count on. And you get to come to a special dinner. Every year, we host a monthly donor once the office reopens, of course. We are still trying to practice safe distancing and taking our precaution because the pandemic is still around, as you all know. The next way you can give is by going to SowHope at www.sowhope.org, and the link is also on the screen. You can make a check payable to SowHope. And for those of you here tonight, you can use the envelope provided by your table host. And you can also, for those watching online, you can mail it to P.O. Box 234, Rockford, Michigan. And the zip code is 49341. And the other option is by paying by credit card. And Aaron is the one taking care of the credit card. Aaron, where are you? So people know where to go if you have a credit card. Okay, he'll be to the right, of my right of the room by where those beautiful pictures are. And then other ways you can help SowHope is by staying informed. We have a Facebook page. We have a newsletter. You can go ahead, put a check box on your card, on your tables, where you can receive news from SowHope. Mary Travels, we have updates about our partners overseas, and the way to stay in touch about our updates and what's been going on with our project and our leaders in those communities is by following us on Facebook and signing up to receive our newsletter. You can volunteer for SowHope. Believe it or not, volunteering is really important as well. We need volunteers, and you can go on our website at sowhope.org where you can sign up to be a volunteer. You can help us spread the word about SowHope. You have friends, you have colleagues, you have family members. You can talk about SowHope, what you learn about it. Also, if they're interested in supporting, they can go ahead and follow us and support us on our Facebook pages. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we're also on LinkedIn, and we post often about updates that Mary is being able to provide us through our partners overseas. Also, if you donated $300 or more, do not forget to go and pick a picture that's for you. If you've donated $300 or more, make sure you get one of the pictures in the back of the room there. You get to pick which pictures you would like. And also, you can stop by a table and get a book from Dr. Cunningham, who's signing them at the table. So make sure you stop by there and take a look at the book, talk to him, ask some questions, get to learn more about his story, and learn about the book and also the reasons why he joined SowHope. And then finally, I would like to thank our sponsors, Sunlight Inc., and also our other sponsors for making this event possible. We couldn't have made it without you. So let's give a big round of applause to our sponsors. Thank you all for coming in tonight, and those who are joining us online, we really thank you for taking the time out of your evening, your Friday evening, to join us and learn more about SowHope and learn about ways you can continue to support us, and also especially support women overseas to make a difference. If you are a first-time donor this evening, you'll be invited to a donor event soon. So stay tuned for that. As soon as our office is open, you will receive that email asking you to join us so we can do a little in-person celebration. I know a lot of us miss those in-person interactions, in-person celebrations, so stay tuned for that. This is all for this evening. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for donating to SowHope. And please continue to make a difference today, tomorrow, and in the future. And don't forget to share about SowHope. Have a good evening. Thank you.